What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for June 14th, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to our final Saturday episode of the podcast. It's a rainy start to the day. However, it should not deter you from going down to the shore. And if you are, get your shore trip started stress-free with Beach Caddy. If you're in Ocean City, Sea Isle, Avalon, Stone Harbor, or Wildwood, let Beach Caddy take the stress out of your Jersey Shore vacation. They'll move your stuff from your car, put it in your house, take it out at the end of your stay, and they have the best beach carts at the Jersey Shore. Nice, big wheels. You'll be moving across the sand, no problem. Go to beachcaddy.app. Use the promo code Jimbo to take 10% off of your bellhop service as well as your beach cart rental, and let Beach Caddy take the stress out of your Jersey Shore vacation. Available in Ocean City, Sea Isle, Avalon, Stone Harbor, and Wildwood. Use the promo Jimbo to take 10% off your bellhop service as well as your beach cart rental, and let them take the stress out of your stay. All right, pretty stress-free for the Phils yesterday. More like it. 8-0 win. Ranger was on point. We might be seeing June Schwarber starting to heat up. Took a little bit of time, but he's getting there. 3-run bomb yesterday. It seems like JT's starting to heat up a little bit. Otto Kemp is filling in nicely over at third, 2 for 4 with an RBI. But it was all about Ranger. Ranger has been lights out since that first rough start that he had, which with the way the rest of the starting rotation is right now, you got to love that Ranger is on point. Cristopher Sanchez takes the mound today at 4. I believe the rain should stop by then, so it shouldn't be an issue getting that game in. But Phil's 8-0, starting to heat up a little bit after that brutal series against the Pirates. But this is what we want to see from this team. And like I mentioned earlier this week, I think what we saw yesterday is this team, and what we saw against the Pirates, that's this team too. They're just a very inconsistent team. Still need a lot of help, but a good win over a good team who came in hot. Blue Jays came in very hot, dating back to the Phillies series as well. So good win for the Phils. They look to take the series today, 4 o'clock at Citizens Bank Park. The Union are also back in action tonight at Subaru Park. They're taking on Charlotte, another game they could win. They are trying to extend that 11-game unbeaten streak. They'll do so without Nathan Harrell, Andre Blake, and Danley Jean-Jacques, who are all on Gold Cup duty for their team. However, this should not be an issue. Union should win today, but we'll have an update on it tomorrow. All right, let's knock some housekeeping out. I mentioned this is the last Saturday episode. After tomorrow, we will not be doing any weekend shows, and it's going to be Monday through Friday. Next week, I'll start introducing some of the new segments we're going to do. And again, it's mostly to expand and allow me to do some other things, working on a couple interviews, the Eagles pregame show. So just a way for me to expand everything. So throughout the summer, there's going to be some changes as well. Got some things as far as presentation, behind-the-scene production stuff. So stay tuned for that. But as always, be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mont on Twitter and TikTok, at Philly Jimbo on Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont, and continue to spread the word as we grow this thing. And if you are interested in seeing highlights of whatever we're talking about, whether it's video, photos, newspaper clippings, go to my social media, including my Facebook and LinkedIn. You'll get everything you have there. And of course, if you missed it yesterday, we spent Fridays with AI. We went down an alternate reality where Joe Carter did not hit a home run, just hit a long fly out to the left, and how it sort of changed the trajectory of not only the rest of that season as the Phillies come out and win Game 7, but just the Phillies and the Philadelphia teams in general, their whole psyche. So that is also available on YouTube. So go check it out if you missed yesterday's Fridays with AI. All right. Told you about Upper Dublin winning the 5A PIAA championship the other day. Would have been great for them to have custom hype chains from Lotwin. But if you're looking for a custom hype chain, they're good for youth sports, fantasy football, bachelor parties, you name it. Go to lotwin.com, get your custom-made hype chain. These things are phenomenal. Use the promo code TCCPOD for 10% off your order. That's lotwin.com, promo code TCCPOD to take 10% off of your order. All right, yesterday's trivia question. We were talking a lot about the 93 Phillies. Who led the 93 Phillies in batting average? It was John Kruk, who hit .316. And technically, Kevin Stocker and Jim Eisenreich both had higher averages. Stocker hit .324. Eisenreich hit .318. However, they did not have enough at-bats to qualify. So John Kruk hit .316 for the 93 Phillies. All right, we're going to stick with the Phillies theme today. June 14th was a fun day in Philly sports history, and this is really fun. First, in 1987, we have a reality and a fiction for the Phillies. In reality, the Phillies beat the Expos 11-6, hitting 5 home runs, including 3 by Mike Schmidt. His second homer was his 2,000th career hit, ended the day with 6 RBI. Von Hayes and Darren Dalton hit the other 2 homers as Don Carmen went 7 2/3 innings to get the win for the Phillies. But it was all about Mike Schmidt hitting 3 home runs, just came off the disabled list, and got his 2,000th career hit in the process. Now, also on this day, fictionally, and if you're a Seinfeld fan, you should know this, but this was the 2-part episode, The Boyfriend, with Keith Hernandez in it. And on the show, on this day in 1987, the Phillies beat the Mets after Keith Hernandez made an error which led to 5 ninth-inning runs for the Phillies. But the big story was after the game, Keith Hernandez allegedly spit on Kramer and Newman. They swear it was Keith Hernandez in the players' parking lot at Shea Stadium, sparking off a controversy, very JFK-like. And as the story goes, it turns out it was Roger McDowell who spit on Kramer and Newman. Roger McDowell would go on to play for the Phillies too, so there is a Philly connection there. But in reality, Phillies did not play the Mets on this day, but in Seinfeld, they did. All right, and then in 2004, the Phillies and Reds played with a lot of history on the line. Jim Thome was looking for his 400th home run. Ken Griffey Jr. was looking for his 500th. Well, Jim Thome got his 400th in the first inning, taking the pressure off. I remember this well. There was a lot of talk and when's he going to get it? When's he going to do it? Unfortunately for Phillies fans, Ken Griffey Jr. did not play in this game. That featured 4 hours of rain delays, finally ended in the early morning hours. But the Phils did win 10-7. Pat Burrell also added a home run. And it was touch and go because everybody was excited that Thome got his 400th home run in the first inning. But then there were fears and concerns that because of the rain, it wasn't going to happen. I have a feeling that if Thome did not hit the 400th home run, they may have called this game and just played it later. But since he got it, I think they were trying to make every effort to get it in. But Jim Thome gets his 400th home run on this day in 2004 as the Phils beat the Reds 10-7. And then in 2014, more history at Citizens Bank Park. Phillies were taking on I forget who they were taking on. I didn't write that in my notes. But anyway, this time it was J-Roll who went 1 for 4 in the game, but his 5th inning single was the 2,235th hit of his career, breaking Mike Schmidt's team record. Mike Schmidt was on hand to congratulate him. Nice little moment. He ran down and gave J-Roll his bat. Lots of pomp and circumstance there. But Chase Utley and Don Brown both homered in that game as J-Roll would end up finishing with 2,306 hits in his Phillies career. And truthfully, I think this is sort of it was the highlight of that season because we knew that there was a lot of talk about whether they were going to start breaking up that core, whether or not they were going to start trading guys, start the rebuild. But For one day only, we were able to enjoy it as J-Roll broke the Phillies' single-season record with his 2,235th career hit as a Philly, breaking Mike Schmidt's record in the Phillies' 7-4 win over the Cubs. Just quickly look that up. But lots of history on this day, lots of fun with fact and fiction with the Seinfeld reference, and of course, Mike Schmidt gets his 2,000th career hit. So lots of Phillies records on this day, June 14th. All right, today's trivia question, though. Kind of an intriguing one, just kind of a random one. I was thinking about this last night, so I figured I looked it up, and why not ask you. But which opposing player has hit the most home runs, or current player has hit the most home runs against the Phillies? There's a lot of Philly killers in the league, but which current player has the most career home runs against the Phillies? Hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line 267-495-8531. Hit me up on social media. The Discord channel is live. Go to the first link in the description. Come over. Let's talk some Philly sports and which player currently has the most career home runs against the Phils. And then check out my boys over at the Clash and Conferences podcast. Great things going on their Sports Fan Network. You can become a member. It's a lot of fun. We were doing a lot of trash talking yesterday, as I always stick up for Phillies fans, because people were like, oh, well, they threw batteries at Santa Claus. And no, we did not throw batteries at Santa Claus. It was snowballs. I always have to set the record straight. But it's a good time. Come join the network. If you're in need of media services, they can hook you up there too. But check out their podcast wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. Laser from American Gladiators is on this week, and that is available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. And then, of course, Philly Goat. Father's Day is tomorrow. It's not too late. Dad just wants to know you're thinking about him. So even if you haven't gotten Dad anything yet, go to Philly Goat. Better yet, you can get him a gift card to Philly Goat. Let him pick out his own stuff. But my shirts came yesterday. They're phenomenal. I got the Cruck Around and Find Out and the Tecmo Bowl Tush Push one. They got Philly Fanatic Rocks glasses, the cooler. Getting a lot of comments on the cooler at the pool. Wearing the slides right now. They got you covered. Don't forget about Dad. Just let him know like that. Show him the site. Let him pick some things out as well. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. That's phillygoat.com. Promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. And then finally today, we're going to continue our greatest individual season in Philly sports history. First, yesterday we had a matchup in the Sixers region, and it was Joel Embiid's MVP season in 22-23, knocking out Charles Barkley from 88-89 with 75% of the vote. No more Charles Barkley seasons left in the tournament. And I think that's okay, because as much as Charles was one of the all-time greats, he was just consistent over his career and never really had the season he had the first year in Phoenix with the Sixers. Part of that had to do with the team they built around him. But Charles Barkley knocked out of the tournament, and Joel Embiid moves on. All right, today we have a pretty decent matchup here in the Eagles region. First, the number 6 seed, Jalen Hurts' 2022 season, where he threw for 3,700 yards, completed 66.5% of his passes, threw for 22 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions, added another 760 on the ground and 13 rushing touchdowns. He made the Pro Bowl. He was All-Pro. Second in the MVP voting. Would have been the favorite to win it had he not hurt his shoulder on the turf out in Chicago that season. Did lead the Eagles to the Super Bowl, where he actually outdueled Patrick Mahomes. A questionable call on James Bradbury is what gave them the Chiefs the win. But he balled out in the Super Bowl, threw for 300 yards, ran for another 70, threw a touchdown, had 3 rushing touchdowns, but it wasn't enough as the Eagles lose the Super Bowl. He's taking on the number 11 seed, Brian Westbrook from 2007. That year, Brian Westbrook posted career highs in rushing with 1,300 yards, added another 770 receiving yards, again, both team highs. His 2,104 total yards set the team record for combined yards in a season. It stood until it was broken this year by Saquon. Led the league in all-purpose yards. Had 11 touchdowns total, 7 rushing, 4 receiving. He was an All-Pro, Pro Bowler. Unfortunately, the Eagles went 8-8. did not make the playoffs that year. But Brian Westbrook, with a career year in 2007, takes on Jalen Hurts, who also probably statistically his best season as a pro in 2022. Now it's your turn. Who do you got? Who had a better season? 2022 Jalen Hurts, 2007 Brian Westbrook. Get your vote in wherever you can. Discord, Back to the Future voice and text line, social media, wherever. Just get the vote in. On this day in 2014, Phillies beat the Cubs 7-4. Jimmy Rollins breaking Mike Schmidt's team record with his 2,235th career hit. He would end with 2306, which still stands as the Phillies record. Jim Thome in 2004 hit his 400th career home run. And then in 1987, Mike Schmidt, in reality, hit 3 homers against the Expos, going over 2,000 hits for his career. And then in fiction on Seinfeld, the infamous spitting incident as the Phillies come back and score 5 runs in the 9th to beat the Mutts. Keith Hernandez allegedly spit on Kramer and Newman, but it was future Philly Roger McDowell. All right, final Saturday show. Looking forward to being able to expand things and try to just have more of a reach and everything. So thank you for all of your support on the weekends. We'll have one more weekend show tomorrow before shifting to the Monday through Friday format. Don't forget today's trivia question. Which current player has the most home runs in his career against the Phillies? I had it down to one of 3 guys, and the guy it is one of the 3 I thought. So let me know your thoughts on that. Go have yourselves a Saturday. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for June 14th, 2025. I'm Jim Montgomery, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.